Hey guys. Well, as you may notice, I'm actually not out and about today. I'm actually at the doctor, so we're gonna have to keep the volume down because there's a lot of sick people around here, me included. I'm finally seeking help. I've been writing too much JavaScript and I finally realized that I have a problem and I'm going to sort it out. But enough about that. Let's get into it. So today we are going to talk about error budgets. It's a concept that I was introduced by. Well, I was introduced to the concept by a very nice stability engineer. I think he called himself a tech talk on one of the GoTo conferences. He was a representative from Google, basically, and as you can imagine, a company the size of Google needs to kind of care about stability because their brand is so respected that you may not know this, but I did get some numbers just the other day where they have a retention rate of some ludicrous number like 98%. Now, for the juniors out there, retention rate means that you have a user who starts using your system, and the measurement that we call retention is how likely that person is to stay on your platform long term. Now, a normal retention rate is not even in the you do just go and Google retention rate and like what the averages are, because trust me, 98% is insanely high. It is insanely high. So how do you achieve something like that? Well, you achieve something like that not only by having really good quality products, but they have to work almost constantly. And the problem is that a company the scale of Google faces the same sort of issues that anybody else, and they face even more advanced problems than you and me will ever have to face at a smaller company. Because let's just face it, a lot of the tools that you and I use in order to do our job, they invent. Like Facebook and Amazon, like these are the companies who invent these solutions. Anywho, so he talked about error budgets, which I thought was very interesting, because the idea was that when you want to innovate, you want to create things, you want to develop things as quickly as possible, but every time you change something about the system, you take a little bit of risk. And the issue with taking risk is that it affects your stability, and operations is all about stability. Making sure that everything's running smoothly, making sure that all the health checks are pinging, and making sure that everything is working. But that's very tricky to do if you're constantly changing things over and over. So there's this tug of war type of deal between basically the operations people and the people who are, the developers, basically. So they introduced the idea of error budgets, and the idea of an error budget is basically that since you are you're logging things, right? You're logging all the errors that you're getting. That means that you now set a threshold where you say, all right, we find it acceptable to have this amount of outages or critical system failures within a given time period, say a month. Let's say that you say that it is okay for us to be down twice in a month. If we are ever down more than twice a month, all development stops until we have fixed our budgets. In other words, until we made changes on behalf of the system that will convert into less errors and less error logs in our logging system, basically. And I thought this was a very nice idea, because one of the things that I've struggled with when it comes to trying to convince my product manager that bugs are something that you kind of have to take seriously, and you don't really have the luxury of just kind of winging it, because she didn't really buy into this. We had this conversation just the other day where she said, oh yeah, we need to fix these issues, and I said, okay, what bugs do you want me to fix? Oh, well, you kind of have to do it on a case-by-case basis. Some things we have to fix, some things we don't have to fix, and I agree. Some bugs are more important than other bugs, but then she says, but we can't focus too much on bugs. And I kind of said, no, which way do you want it? And she wondered, what do you mean? Well, you can't have not focusing on bugs and investigating and figuring out which bugs we need to address and which we don't have to address in the same sentence. It's not possible, because inherently you have no idea. When a bug appears, it's very hard for you to know how critical the issue is. Sometimes it's easy. If it's just a graphics thing, it's usually easy. But sometimes it's much more serious. And the only way for you to know if it's serious is to investigate the bug. You don't really have a choice there. So you have to pick between the two. And so she said, oh, okay, yeah, well, there was no real good answer there. And I understand that because, she's not necessarily a technical person. She doesn't understand how you kind of have to think about errors in order to effectively work with them, because non-technical people, depending on their level of familiarity with the IT industry, they don't understand that bugs are constant. This is an ongoing process. You will always have more. It's like a curve. Sometimes you have a lot of bugs and sometimes you have less bugs, but you always have bugs. There's always going to be bugs. So what I thought was so interesting about this error budget was that this is a very good contract for everybody to abide by. It's an unbiased way to simply state that, all right, we at this company accept this amount of issues with our system before we consider it to be critical to fix these things. And when you decide that you broke your budget, then you simply look at the most critical bugs immediately. I mean, of course, if something goes completely horribly wrong, you fix it immediately. But this mentality of having a budget to treat bugs as this constant cost that you're paying to do innovation, that you have to pay back if you're spending too much time on innovation, then you have to go back to stability. I really like this mindset, and I will see if I can push it on at my company and see if it works. Hopefully, we'll find that this trick of categorize to prioritize time, because that's basically what it is. Because as I said to my PO, you can't innovate and solve bugs at the same time. You have to pick one, or you have to have. You cannot kind of intuitively know what bugs to fix and what not to fix unless something is very obviously extremely wrong. So that's why I think that this error budget, it's almost like an alarm clock. You innovate, you do all these things that produce money and value to your company, and then the alarm clock goes off because you broke your error budget. Oh, now you have to wake up and fix the bugs, so that you can go back to doing the thing that produces money for the company. So yeah, hopefully error budgets is something that you're going to figure out as well, and have a great day.